Matt Gaetz shouldn't necessarily pack up his stuff for the AG's office just yet, because there's some rumblings that maybe his nomination process will not be as smooth as perhaps he or maybe Donald Trump hope it would be. Although I will throw out, there is a theory that Donald Trump is actually kind of throwing Matt Gaetz under the bus in doing this. Perhaps we'll discuss that. But regardless, there is reporting that up to 30 senators are willing to reject his nomination. 30 GOP senators, to be clear. I'm assuming the Democrats would also be opposed, but they're saying it won't even be close. And they can be like more dismissive than just oppositional when they talk about it. I want to give you an example of that. Take a look at what one senator had to say.
Just to name one, I mean, Matt Gaetz comes to mind, and I have concerns that he can't get across the finish line, and we're going to spend a lot of political capital. I say we, a lot of people will spend a lot of political capital on something that even if they got done, you'd have to wonder if it was worth it. Mike, I have concerns about him, about the way he disrupted and really destroyed the House of Representatives for several months. What he did to a really good speaker in Kevin McCarthy and accomplished nothing except getting rid of him, and ruined the reputation of the House of Representatives to the point where they didn't catch the wave. Didn't catch the wave.
Yeah, so look, saying that you don't think they'd be good at the job, that's one thing. Like describing it as like a waste of time. Like seriously, this is what we're gonna put our time into. Yeah, I agree with him. I don't often agree with GOP senators. Of course, Donald Trump does have a plan for that. He wants to do it through a recess appointment. He thinks that will sort of speed it along. And I guess then it would be a waste of less time at least. But the fact remains that it doesn't look like he's a lock to get into the position. And there's an extra wrinkle that we'll talk about, but Yaz, what do you make of his nomination?
Whenever he got elected on election night, whenever Trump was elected, there was this dreadful feeling of, going back to 2016, 17 and remembering what it felt like when all these crazy nominations were coming out and all these like terrible people were being put and elevated into these positions. People remember the former oh God, what's his name? The former Texas governor, Rick Perry, when he was saying, he was going to be put in charge of the Department of Energy, and he didn't even know what that was, right? So this feels very reminiscent of that. I think what stands out to me is there's a lot of hypocrisy going on here. I think we're going to talk about it a little bit more in the segment, but all these people who suddenly have issues with Matt Gaetz, it's like a lot of the things that you have issues with regarding Matt Gaetz could have also been applied to Donald Trump, but you didn't seem to have a problem with that there. But somehow Matt Gaetz being the attorney general is worse and a bigger problem for you than Donald Trump being the president. And I know that there are a lot of reasons why people would vote for Donald Trump, apart from like his rhetoric and the fact that he has been convicted of sexual misconduct, to put it lightly, against women. And he has said misogynistic things publicly and unapologetically. Like there's a lot of other reasons why people voted for him that they were just able to, push past that. But the fact that the GOP is now making a point to say, he's very creepy. I wouldn't leave my daughters alone with him. It's a weird point for them to be making, especially at this stage in, democracy.
Yeah, I get you pointing out the hypocrisy there, that he's alleged to have done something like what Donald Trump has done. I mean, the deep irony is that he's alleged to have done far less than Donald Trump has done. I mean, terrible things. These allegations are horrible, but in comparison to the mountain of horrific
not
acts,
as bad as Trump. Yeah,
exactly. But the thing is, and we've been saying this for a long time, and it's one of the things that gives me hope, and I'm constantly looking for sources of hope these days. Like, are we as a culture worse than we were 10 years ago? Yes, I think so. But I don't think we're as bad as Trump now, because Trump still has his aura of invincibility or whatever, which sucks, and it reflects really poorly on all of us, but it hasn't expanded. Like Matt Gaetz won't necessarily get through. I mean, the fact that he can even be nominated, that's a bad sign for civilization.
Yeah.
But the fact that he might not make it through maybe is a good sign. And so that is certainly good news.
I like how
Now,
your beacon of hope is that you started off by saying we are much worse off as a society, as a people than we were 10 years ago. There is a glimmer of hope to be seen in, his opposition to being confirmed as the attorney general. But we live in a crazy world right now. We live in a crazy time, and we know that Trump is already talking about dismantling systems of checks and balances. And he's already joking about running for a third term. And he's already saying, maybe there's a way that I can just push through my nominees without actually having to get Senate approval, even though
yeah.
he has a lot of control, a lot of power in the Senate. So it is reassuring that maybe some people are not going to let him get away with just about everything he
Yeah.
wants to get away with.
When you click the join button and become a tier 2 member, you get access to all of our weekly top 10 lists. What are you waiting for?